Hey family, we are live, broadcasting live. This is the Conversation Room 101. Make sure it's only adults in the house. I need your mind to be open, prepared, and relaxed. Welcome to our home. Take your shoes off. We got some rules we need to go over. Be kind. No cursing in the chat. If you want to curse, call in. And no shouting out other channels. That's a no-no. We got one other rule. There is no judging our guests. It will not be permitted. Zero tolerance. And if so, you want to do that, guess what? We got security. And we will escort you out. Because over here, hashtag we don't care. We're going to be one big family. We're going to laugh together sometimes. We're going to cry. But we definitely going to pray. I thank the Lord above for everything. I lift him up and give him the glory. But you guys, right now, we're going to get our popcorn. And then we're going to see what's going on. And let me just park my car. And I'll be in there in a minute. I'll see you real soon.
The Copyright Disclaimer Act. The Copyright Disclaimer Act under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you, and I think I have to listen, because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be
Along
as
the
bright
tower
as
of
the
the missing
sun.
in Savannah.
And as you come around, and it feels so right, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now I know. Baby, baby, gotta go. There is so much love to give, something's telling me it's right. When you came to me, oh I knew it's you, yeah, boy.
Where is Cody?
Hey family, come on in you guys, come on in, make sure you share the live, hit that button to like, and let's get into this topic. You guys, we've been doing this for almost about a year now that, I've just been sitting up here in my study, and I like it like this. I will be going back downstairs where you guys can see me and I'll see you and everything will get good. But, sometimes people just want to come in here and just look at you. And right now, things going the way they going. I don't need nobody looking at me because, you guys already see me. You know what I look like and everything. So that ain't the problem. The problem is I like to just stay comfortable because I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm gonna let you guys know right now that next Wednesday we will probably have to go live early on the 22nd because I have a mandatory meeting and I have to be at, they say. So they changed it. It was supposed to be in this last Wednesday, and a lot of people couldn't make it because they didn't give us enough time to get ready and prepared for it. I see Marsha's driving, but she's going to be listening. Thank you, Marsha. Okay, let me get off into this live. Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, mods. What's going on? Thank you guys for coming in and helping. I see Woke the God is in here. I see Tina is in here. I see Sanja is in the building. All right. I see Tina Powers in the building. Okay. I've been missing one of our mods, but she's letting me know that some things is going on with her. And I even see some family members in here. I see Valerie Montgomery. She in the building. Woke the God. She family. Shoot, and Marsha Poole and Lisa Taylor. They family. Come on in here. Come on, you guys. Get it, get it, get it. I want to talk about 3 topics today. I put down Shanquella Robinson because we wanted to know who was those other 3 people. Who was they talking about that they needed to be questioned, and that their attorney, what was that girl's name, that attorney name that's on Looking for Love and all the wrong place, right places or whatever. She is going after these 3 people, and I thought it would have been 3 of the 6 in the Cobble 6, right? No, that's not who she was talking about. The other 3 people need to come up and step up, and that they need to be questioned and share some of the consequences of what happened to Shanquella. She was actually talking about, guess what, you guys? Because we got our answer. We got people that goes around and help out, trying to understand these questions because we don't know. It was actually, she was talking about Linda. Remember Linda? She was the maid that allegedly found Shanquella and went and told the friends, "Hey, your friend is sick. You guys need to go see about her." Or you remember we heard that the maid Linda said she was cold. She was cold, and not only that, she was hard, cold and hard. But the friends, whatever happened on that. So Linda is one of them, the maid. And then, and I love you too, Nancy LaRose. And then there was the 2 concierges. One of the concierge was the one that was at the building at the time. They made it there. And one of the concierge was, I guess, the business type one that did a lot of the organization in their trip, organizing what they would do, when they would get there, who would take care of them, and all of that stuff. Remember, there was one that said that the concierge called him and said, "Hey, their friend ain't feeling too well." And then he said, "Did you call 911 or something?" And he was like, "Should I?" And he was like, "Yeah, matter of fact, when they called the doctor and the doctor came over and the doctor said this, said that." Then the other concierge or organizing person told the concierge, "You could go ahead and leave. I'll take care of this." So those are the 3 people she said that was in question to be not, I guess, called in to be questioned. But the problem with that is the FBI has all this information of who said what and what was said. And I'm going to tell you guys something. And I told you about my ADHD. And I might be all over the place. But the one way I figure out things is I have to go through something of that nature. And so, the one thing that the Lord gives us, He gives us good examples in our own life. Okay? He gives us very good examples. And He comes to mind that I was going after the scholarship. And I told you guys about it. So the scholarship was like, hey, what you need to do is get 2 people. Well, you really only require to have 1 person to give you a recommendation. But we want you to choose 2 people to give you a recommendation. We cannot go further with your application until 1 of these people give you a recommendation. It can be anybody, but they can't be kin to you. So I reached out to 2 people. I reached out to the person that I work for, that I take care of their child every day for the last 4 or 5 years. I've written a recommendation for them, and I just know that this person's gonna jump right on in there because I never asked them for anything. Matter of fact, they always ask me to do this and do that and do that. But it's my job too, but I do go above and beyond my job description 99.9% of the time. And I give her very good advice. But I just know for sure she's going to write me a recommendation because I'm just asking. Anytime you need anything, Sonny, let me know. Okay? So I texted her and said, hey, I need you to write this recommendation. And she said, sure. I said, okay, I'm finna send you the link and da-da-da-da-da. And I need you to hurry up and get it in there because the due date is the 15th. It was the 14th when I sent it to her. I need you to do this immediately. Okay. I was on the phone with a friend of mine. And I said, hey, I'm doing this. I'm trying to get this other scholarship so that everything will be taken care of for school. She said, I'll do it. I said, okay. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I thought that the lady that I work for would have threw hers in there really, really quick. But the friend of mine's, she was like, let me hang up and let me go ahead and get on this. Don't ever discount somebody because the one that you think that will probably shellac, relax, they may get to it, they may not get to it. Next thing you know, you don't have no recommendation. So one thing about this scholarship is, like I said, they cannot go forward until one of the two fill out the information and send it back to them, and then you can be considered. Well, they don't tell you what they say, which my friend was telling me, I said this and I said that. I don't know what they said. But it doesn't matter if I get it or don't get it. You always try to reach out there and get as much as you can when you're trying to go to school. But I found out that the person I work for, they did not fill out the paperwork. So that's why sometimes you have to go by, you never know who will help you and who won't. You might think your friends may help you, but then in all reality, it might be the person that you don't think that would be there. Let me go ahead and do this. And you're thinking, okay, yeah, maybe you will, maybe you won't, I don't know. But the person that I thought was going to jump on it, hurry up and do it, is the person that I've always helped. Not the person that said, let me help you. You guys understand what I'm saying? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys understand what I'm saying. So, on this not soldier girl, I looked at soldier girl coming in the building. She said, hey, so on the Shanquella case, you never know who's going to help. You never know. You remember the reporter guy? He was in there talking about, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. Who knows what he's doing? Only thing I could tell you is, you never know. I have people backing me up, and so many things is unbelievable. I thank God for everybody, I really do. But I got special people that steps right on in, and they're not jealous. Jealous of what? You know what I'm saying? So we all reaching for something. I may not can help you in everything or something that you want, but sometimes just being there, listening, and coming in, it makes a person's day. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk a little bit about that. I wanted you guys to know that, when we go out and we seek this information, trying to figure out what's going on, why is this, I think her name was Sandra or something on that case. Let me look it up real quick. The Shanquella Robertson, their attorney, she's in North Carolina, I guess. But I can't find her name to save myself. Sue Ann Robertson, that's her name. Sue Ann Robertson feels like there should be those 3 other people to be accountable for. It says the lawsuit will be against the 6 traveler mates, including the 3 who lied by omission. Those are the 3 that lied by omission, by failing to disclose that someone had been beating Shanquella prior to her death. See what I'm saying? So, I get that. I understand that. Okay? So, now we know who those 3 were or are. So, now on the Breonna Taylor case, you guys. Let me find what's going on because this just happened 3 hours ago. So, on the Breonna Taylor case, the judge declared a mistrial. She says, okay, I see her now. Okay, yeah. Her name was Sue Ann. That's the attorney. So, anyway, yes, Soldier Girl's in there. The judge declared a mistrial Thursday, which was yesterday, in the civil rights trial against Brett Hankison. Okay, Hankson. He's the former Louisville Metro Police Department detective. He was federally charged in connection with the fatal March 2020 shooting. It was not only fatal, it was a botched raid. Okay, the shooting of a 26-year-old, her name was Breonna Taylor, after the jury reported it was a deadlock, you guys. There's 12 jurors, and they came out with a deadlock. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, because there's something that we hadn't talked about before, and I would like to let you guys know. The judge declared the mistrial after jurors informed the court they were unable to reach an unanimous verdict. As it stands right now, the assistant U.S. attorney from the Department of Justice did indicate that it is their intentions to retry Brett in this case. So they're not giving up. They're saying, look here, he is guilty of, using force and injure somebody with his service arm. I mean, it's weird how a whole police department and them thinking that this police officer did something wrong. Now, you guys and I would think, okay, if you went to the home and shot through the door, that would be considered wrong, period. Why? But they're going by what the officer was thinking, and he's trying to say, I thought that I was saving my other fellow officers, like there was a shootout or something, so I went ahead and shot through the door. And you guys know the truth, but that's how they get off. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you something. You got 12 jurors. One of them love cops, or one of them is more like, hey, I don't want this cop that made a mistake. It's just a mistake. It's just a little black girl. It's just a mistake. My mother told me something a long time ago, and I found out for it to be true. That, back in the day, you guys, so some people get mad because I'm not talking about race, but I'm telling you something for a fact. But my mother used to tell me, she said this, and if you look it up, I'm pretty sure you're going to find it to be true. She said that back in the day, see, that's what we need to do. We need to go back to our elders and what did they tell us? What did they teach us? Because then you can understand what is still happening today. It's just a whole different day. Same stuff back then. But she said that a black person being killed is the equivalent of a white person taking a piece of bubble gum. It's almost like it's a misdemeanor. That's what she would tell me. She said that, back then, taking a black person's life is like a misdemeanor. Whether it was deservable or it was an accident, or even if it was just a homicide, it, if they go to court, it would be like they would get maybe probation. This is how she explained it to me. She said that a black person's life was not worth anybody to go to jail. She said, even if somebody mistreated a dog, they get more time mistreating the dog than to kill a black person. And when you look at how things go in these courts, that's true. But, we decided to have 12 jurors amongst our peers. And, one or two of those jurors would be sitting there going, heck no, Bob didn't deserve that because Bob is a good guy. Bob's got a wife. And Bob went to school and Bob was protecting us. But had it been your child that was laying in the bed behind that door, and then you would want Bob to serve time for being reckless. But you're not looking at it like that. You're looking at it like Bob looked like you. And in this fact, and it's true, this Brett Hankerson looks like Bob. So I'm not surprised nor bewildered. Why? And this is not his first time being declared a mistrial. I think they did it before. But let me read on. But it says the judge declared a mistrial after jurors informed the court they were unable to reach a unanimous verdict. As it stands right now, the assistant U.S. attorney from the Department of Justice did indicate that it is their intentions to retrial Brett. The attorney for Taylor's family said outside of the courthouse on Thursday, prosecutors allege Hankerson used unjustified force the night Taylor was killed and violated her civil rights and those of her boyfriends and next door neighbors. Hankerson denied the charges, 2 federal counts of deprivation of rights under color of law, 1 count for Taylor and 1 count for 3 of her neighbors, because they all rights was violated. You could have killed the kid next door. You could have killed anybody. Oh, it was just a mistake. Bob, yes, John, it was a mistake. Oh, that's right. That's right. His name was Brad. So anyway, Hankerson, they say the charges stem from a botch raid in which Louisville's Metro police officers fatally shot Taylor, an emergency room technician, shortly after midnight on March the 13th in 2020. According to the federal indictment, Hankin fired multiple shots into Taylor's home, some of which traveled through a wall she shared with her neighbors. When there was no longer a lawful objective, justified the use of deadly force. That summer, Taylor's death, among with the killing of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, sparked fury, protesting, and a worldwide reckoning with police violence and racial inequity. Taylor was in her home with her boyfriend while a woman, a man, and a 3-year-old were in the apartment next door at the time of the incident. CNN has reached out to the attorney of the court officials to confirm details of the court proceedings. Hankerson was one of the 4 current and former Louisville police officers who were charged in 2022 with federal civil rights violation, which included detectives who worked on the search unit. So it wasn't only the police officers that went in there and botched this raid. This happened in 2020, but they didn't get charged till 2 years later in 2022. The charges was the first federal counts leveled against any of the officers involved in the botched raid. They let you know it was a botched raid. They were fired after a jury in state court acquitted Hankerson. So they were all okay. I'm sorry, I said fired. They were filed after a jury in state court acquitted Hankerson in March 2020 of 3 counts. They didn't just stop, the whole thing. They just said 3 of the counts was probably not legitimate. But a felony wanton endangerment in connection with the raid. He was the only one charged at the state level. That's because he was the one that shot through the door. Okay? After his acquittal, the Louisville Metro Police Department said the event of March the 13th, 2020 are still painful for many, and since then, LMPD has prioritized rebuilding the trust with the community. They always trying to rebuild trust. I'm going to tell you guys something, and Maya Angelou would always say, when a person show you what they are, or they tell you who they are, and you see them for who they are, basically paraphrasing it, because I'm in English now, so I got to use all this stuff, so you guys, work with me, because my teacher is tearing up my essays. But if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Okay? So they kind of basically showed you who they are. So prosecutors said Hankerson willfully used unconstitutional excessive force when he fired his service weapon into Taylor's apartment through a covered window and covered glass door, according to the document. On both court counts against him, Hankerson offense involved the use of a dangerous weapon and an attempt to kill. That's what the indictment says. He had attempt to kill. Hankerson's lawyers told the jury this is what the police officer attorney told the jury. He was trying to save the other officers in the home by shooting through the windows at what he believed was a person armed with the AR rifle. I told you it doesn't matter if he was right or wrong. It was what was in his head. And I'm going to tell you guys something else. Remember, there was this kid down there in the Missouri area. I think it was Missouri. It could have been just Kansas City. I'm not for sure. But anyway, the boy was an A student, but he went to go pick up his brothers. His twin brothers. He went to the wrong door, and he knocked on the door, and the man just shot through the door. Boom, boom, boom. And then while he was on the ground, the man shooting again and said, "Don't be coming around here." Boom, boom, boom. Now, the boy is doing fine, but here's the thing. That man is a white man. I'm just saying, you guys. And he's seen a black person. Okay? So instead of saying, "Hey, what do you need?" or "Get away from my door," I'll just shoot. Because I'm so scared of black people. And you guys can say what you want to say, but it's real. The fear is in the air. It's been there. It is always going to be there. There is traumatizing Caucasian people, probably because usually when you're traumatized that all black people are the same, or if you see a black person, they're a bad person, I don't know where you get your logic from. That it can't be true. I know for a fact it's not true. Just like I know all white people are not bad people. I don't let somebody come in and say, "Oh, white people this, white people." You know why? Because it doesn't work like that. Some are bad and some are good. Just like there are bad black people and there are good black people. There are bad white people, there are good white people. It's just you need to pick your poison. If you want to deal with good white people, they may still have some problems and some issues. But as long as they treat you right or treat you good, don't hang over them about your ancestors being slaves and all this other stuff. They didn't do it. They might profit from it because, they got all the money and the generation of that old money, coming down the tight pole. And then, they get the benefits like the good jobs and, they get to pass along without even speaking good English or whatever. And we gotta perfect it. But they can have broken down English and everybody thinking that they're smart. I'm going to tell you something. Didn't the kids get the jobs and they be your boss? I'm going to tell you something. I almost can preach on it, to be honest with you. Ooh, Sean Diddy is getting accused of years of raping Cassie. Okay. But here's the thing, you guys. I mean, like I said, I don't believe I'm prejudiced, even though what my mother taught me and my grandmother taught me, I can't be prejudiced because of what happened to them. I can look and see what they tell me and see if it's still happening, which it is. But it's not like they're in your face with it. But I still see it. It is in your face. It's just a little bit covered up, I think sometimes they like to show that little edge. Like, you stay in your place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I see it all the time. But whatever. Anywho's. But the thing about it is, you don't have to you don't have to hate one group of people because some people of that group is not good people, because you can pick out all the bad people and they're not going to be just one color. I'm going to tell you right now, they're not. They're going to be looking like you. They're going to be looking like me. They're going to be looking like this Hankerson. They're going to be looking like Tim Ferriter. They're people. You know what I'm saying? So it's just sad because if this was a black officer, like on the Tyrese Nichols case, they'd have them on the front page. They want to make sure they put those 5 officers that's down there in Memphis on the front page. Because they're saying, look, your own people kill you. They kill people that look just like them. And they're like, they can't be prejudiced because they're black too. Well, they can. And I'm going to tell you why. Because back in the day, you would always have a house ninja. And that house ninja would always tell on the other ninjas. Okay? And that's how he gets to move up. And that's how he gets his freedom papers. And as long as he keeps Massa happy, Jamon and Kunta, they gonna run away tonight. And they be ready and prepared for him. So you're gonna always have ninjas. Some people would be like, they call it Uncle Tom. I say, hey, hold on. No, they're not. If you go back in your history, you're using that person's name in vain. Don't do that. If you know anything about your history, which I love history, that's my favorite subject, because it's like just telling stories. And I'll tell you guys, and you'll let people know when they start saying, yeah, he's an Uncle Tom. No, don't give him that privilege, because Uncle Tom was a very noble person. People like, what? SP, I know good and well you talking about you like history. Yeah, and I'm telling you the truth. Uncle Tom was not a bad person when it comes to helping his people. Actually, he helped freed a lot of slaves. You guys hear what I'm saying? Matter of fact, let me see. I'm going to Google it. But it is very offensive to be called Uncle Tom when it really shouldn't be. But in the dictionary, and I'm talking about the Webster Dictionary, or you can talk about the Oxford Language Dictionary or whatever, a black man considered to be excessively obedient to white people. A person regarded as betraying their culture or social alliance. So that's what it means in the slang. Okay? To win over the white people's approval. That's when you want to call them that. Right? But if you really go off into finding out what Uncle Tom really is and did, it would be totally the opposite. You guys understand what I'm saying? So okay, so let me see the root here. Nobody wants to be called an Uncle Tom, but 150 years ago it was a compliment. Inherit Beecher's stole, okay? Uncle Tom Cabot. Uncle Tom is a martyr, not a sellout. His devotion to his fellow slaves is so unshakable that he sacrificed a chance for freedom and ultimately his life to help them. Okay? How did a term of high praise become the ultimate black insult? Until recently, scholars believe that Uncle Tom was first used as an epithet in 1919 by Reverend George, supporters of the radical black nationalist Marcus Garvey, addressing the first convention of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. McGuire declared that Uncle Tom, the ninja, has got to go, and his place must be taken by the new leader of the ninja race, not a black man with a white heart, but a black man with the black heart. In the event's opening parade, marchers held protest signs that hopefully proclaimed Uncle Tom's dead and buried. Wow, I didn't know that. That was good. I'm glad I got to that, you guys. The honorary of Uncle Tom changed in meaning was how far whites lagged behind. At the same time that Uncle Tom was being an undesirable model for many in the black community, the daughters of the Confederate lobbyists Southern legislatures to outlaw performances of Uncle Tom Cabin because they insisted the play slandered the South in its harsh depiction of slavery. The truth about slavery remained a fought political battlefield in which the Uncle Tom that was too submissive for many blacks seemed at the same time deeply dangerous to Southern whites. So the Southern whites didn't want Uncle Tom in their towns, but neither, as it turned out, did Northern blacks during the Great Migration as Southern immigrants began to come to the North in increasing large numbers. Sexual tensions erupted within the race. In 1910, when a black Georgia woman tried to put together a petition for segregated schools in Chicago, the Chicago Defender cascaded her as another Southern white folks lover who was bringing Southern customs where they weren't welcome. When we are in touch with Mrs. Johnson, we will show her the back door to Chicago and have her beat it back to her dear old Southern home. where all the Uncle Tom's and Topsies should be. Wow. You guys, the problem with Uncle Tom was not that he existed, but that he was coming north and taking some of the best jobs away from more progressive men. Railroad porter positions, in particular, seemed to be increasingly filled by Uncle Tom type who brought a submissive Southern sensibility with them. Too much South, considered the Defender in 1911, adapting the language of white supremacists. Brand them and send them back to the uncut timber and sage bushes and let them jungle coconuts with their brothers. In this battle between the old South and the new South and the modern black men was the new ninjas and not of the Uncle Tom class, the passing of whom so many white citizens regret. As Spanish War veterans and roots asserted, perhaps slur of the death of the communist leader Booker T. Washington in 1915. Derogatory use of Uncle Tom flourished in the subsequent years, especially in the pages of the Defender. Uncle Tom was part of an old racial program, one that had argued for abomination but had not pushed on to demand equal treatment under the law in 1916. The paper used the term to describe a Dallas editor who supported segregation, like Uncle Tom of Cabin fame. This man is ready to submit to anything a white man tells him. Men of this script not even fit to train sunks, much less children. Segregation, not slavery, was the new evil now, and the slavery days had passed. The time was near. One anonymous letter to the Defender contended, when the black man must wipe off his humble, submissive Uncle Tom smile, then hereafter stand up and demand justice. The Uncle Tom of the slavery past had been too submissive to whites, but the rising generation of new ninjas would not aggressively assert its right. So, I'm trying to find it, but it's just going on and on and on and on and on and on. So they're talking a little bit about Clarence Thomas and Condoleezza Rice. Ultimately, the Uncle Tom figure indicates an intense racial mistrust and a belief that the interests of blacks and of whites in America are deeply different. As long as racial iniquities in the country persist, Uncle Tom is likely to stick around for a long time. So they're saying that word is going to be around, but people use it to be a derogatory. But I told you, you have to find, and here's the thing, when it comes down to certain websites, they don't really explain what Uncle Tom actually did. But a lot of people be like, yeah, you Uncle Tom. Well, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. And that's just how the world is right now. They'll call something that was good bad, and then we'll use it up against a person, not knowing that you just demolished this whole person's name when that person helped you, your family, to be where you at. That you can go to a school that has books, that you can walk across the street, that you're not a slave anymore, or your grandparents wasn't slaves anymore. That's what Uncle Tom was all about, He just didn't protect himself. He protected others. But they trying to make the world think, and we use it against people. That's just like when people call people ninjas. I'll be like, hey, I try not to use it. I used to didn't use it at all. But, it's just crazy. But they just call, Uncle Tom sellouts. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just be honest with you. Some people do have to, sell out so that their kids can get something or move where they need to move, and then they can move you up. Not be like crabs in a bucket and everybody just say F it, No. You know, it's crazy. But these books will not be in the library. Matter of fact, it won't be no books in the library in 2030. I'm just being honest. Anyway, I just wanted you guys to know that you're just gonna have people on the jury that's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? And it goes both ways, It's just that's why they don't mind going to court, because they know somebody's going to sit in that jury and be like, "Oh no, I don't know nothing about the case, and I don't think nothing right now. I heard about it, but it's no big difference. I sway neither way." But really deep down inside, they may even think they're right, okay? They really may think, because who would think that they have some racist in them? Everybody say, "I'm not racist." But let it be your child that was laying in a bed and a whole bunch of police officers, and hold on, and they were all black. And Lily White was laying in their bed, and they shot through the door. You wouldn't have a mistrial. I rest my case. You would not have a mistrial. They would be found guilty. That's how I know that these boys in Memphis is going to be found guilty. They're going to be found guilty. Because I'm going to tell you why. Okay? Because wrong is wrong, and people act like they don't know what wrong is, but they know. They know. And I try to tell you guys this a long time ago. I work with people like this. I see it all the time. As a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you a little thing. So the lady I work for, she used to be over all the, Holiday Inns and, the Hiltons and all this other place. Thousands of people work underneath her, right? She hires and she fires and she lets go and she buys this and she does that and did that. She did it for years and years and years. Years and years. And make sure she orders this and order that. So now she's down here. She used to be in the Twin Cities or the Twin States or whatever you want to call it. She's down here in Kansas. And she told me she did that for years. And I said, "Oh, but now you work for the post office." She said, "Yeah, I work for the post office." I said, "Okay." She's late every day to work. You guys hear what I just said? She's late every day to work. Every day. Not 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 40 minutes. I mean, people at my second job, they late every day. I never understood it for the life of me. Late. I mean, not 10 minutes late, 5 minutes late. I'm talking about 30 minutes to an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours late. And walk in like it ain't nothing. You don't believe me? You better ask somebody. And they just come in. Sometimes they call, sometimes they don't call. And I told her, I said, "You're late every day." She said, "Yeah." She said, I said, "But you're late every day." She was like, "I know." And I asked her, I promise you, I asked her this question, and I said, "Now you used to be a boss over all these hundreds of people. What if somebody came to work like you late every day? What would you do?" You know what her answer was? She said, "I would fire him." And I looked at her. I said, "You would fire him?" She said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, I see what you're saying." She said, "I'm going to try to do better." You know what? It was months and months and months, and she's still late Not every day, but she's still late. Like 90% of the week, she's late. She goes in when she gets there and be like, it ain't nothing. So when people be like, you think they don't know? They know. That's why I don't argue with people, because they know. I figure if a dog can understand when you say stop and you teach him what right and wrong is, grown folks know too. I don't care what color you are. You know. You know what's right and wrong. Somebody had to teach me that, and I was like, no, they don't know. They don't know that. They was like, I'm not wasting my time. Sonny, they know. That was somebody that was saying that they don't believe in God because they don't know, and they wanted me to explain it to him. And the guy that was getting ready to become somewhat involved in the church, I can't remember what he's going to be. He wasn't going to be a pastor. I can't remember what he was going to be. I reached out to him and said, hey, could you talk to these people? And he said, Sonny, they know. And I was like, no, they don't. He was like, yeah, they do. I said, no, they don't. And I got mad at that person. I was like, and you're getting to be up there and, the cloth of the Lord and all this other stuff. And these people want us to talk to them and explain it. And he was like, no, I'm not going to waste my time. They know. And I got mad at him. And I was like, man, wow. I'm reaching out, trying to get some help to explain how Jesus, is the Son and the Savior. And he won't even do it. He said they know. And you know what? I was angry with him for a long time because he wouldn't explain it. But as time came along, maybe about a year later, the person that was an atheist that said that he wanted to know, what I explained to him and get my friends together and explain to him about Jesus or whatever. He called me up and he said, hey, could you do me a favor? And I said, what's that? Because I haven't heard from you in a long time. He said, my niece fell in some water and she's on life support. I said, okay. He says, could you pray to your God? Because that's what you guys do, right? You pray to your God. You pray for my niece. And I said, and I remembered him saying, he don't know nothing about Christ. He don't know nothing about God. He don't know nothing about Jesus. So I asked him, pray to who? To see what he said. He said, pray to your God. Because can't he change things? I said, yeah. Then I said, so who should I say sent me? Because do he know you? Anyway, make a long story short, that's what I'm saying. When stuff start hitting the fan, they'll show you they know. And he prayed. The little girl died anyway. And he was really mad at God after that. But that's how stuff happens. But anyway, you guys, I was just giving you an example. They know. When people act like they don't know and you sitting there, you want to argue with them. You want to argue. I don't want to argue. You know that song? Remember, I don't want to argue. I'm at peace. Leave me alone. Anywho, that's what happens. Some people are just gonna do that. But the God that we do serve, he's a just God. So you can't even think that the world is gonna be right. And he tells you that. You already know. Quit acting like you're surprised. You already know. Even when things don't go the way that you want them to go. Hold on. You already know. Anyway, let's talk about the boy in the box. I'm just letting you guys know. The boy in the box. We're talking about Tim. I want you guys to know he got sentenced 1 hour ago. 1 day ago. So the father and the boy in the box trial, he was sentenced, you guys. Now, if you guys know anything, he put this boy in the box, and he could have took a plea deal. They gave him a plea deal that said, hey, just plead and you can do 2 years. You'll be out within 1 year. You would be out. And you could probably get the other year probation. He was like, no. We're talking about John and Bob and Tim and Harrison or whatever. Again, this man thought it was okay to put a child in a box. Not his biological kids, but a child that they get government money for, and have a box built in his garage, and one box was right next to the house. He wasn't allowed to be in the house socializing with the other kids. See what I'm saying? He thought it was okay. His wife thought it was okay to put somebody else's child in a box, but they're helping. But here's what they were saying. We're good people. We adopted. You adopted that money. That's all you adopted. So his name is Tim. So Tim was found guilty of aggravated child abuse and false imprisonment. He was accused of detaining his adopted teenager son in a box-like structure in the garage. That makeshift room became a kind of a cell for that boy. The Home Depot bucket to use as a bathroom, a door that locked from the outside, no light for long periods of time, and a Ring doorbell camera to monitor the youngster during his confinement. So he did this for 5 freaking years. Oh my God. Oh my God. And his wife is sitting there like, Tim, I love you so much. You're getting ready to go to trial too. I don't know what her name is. It might be Sarah or something. I don't know. I don't know what her name is. But she think that it was okay to put somebody else's child in a box and have the box made. They're like, well, we at least made it. We built it. As of Thursday's sentence hearing, Tim defense put an author and mother who raises awareness about RAD, reactive attachment disorder, on the stand and asked the judge to consider the difficulty circumstances the family found themselves in because of the widely misunderstood conditions and the stigma around it. So they're trying to say it was a disorder, reactive attachment disorder. So Dennis and husband accused. Okay. That's something else. But Mr. Timothy, or Tim, also addressed the court in his family in the emotional statement apology to his adopted son, the victim, and talking about the love that he has for the boy with so many creative ideals. Ferriter said through tears, this is what he said. The boy gave a victim impact statement, at times visible crying and calling for forgiveness and mercy. I don't know if it's on here or not. But under the Florida law, Mr. Tim could have been sentenced to more than 40 years, but has no criminal history. You guys, he got 60 months. That's 5 years. He could have... What did I corrected you about? He could have easily, like I said, he could have easily said, I'll take the 2 years and he'll do 1 year and then 1 year probation. He would have got out of good time and all that. And half of it was already done because he went to jail. All that would have been time served. But he was out. He didn't just stay in jail. He was out walking around. Just like he ain't did anything. Just like Corey. But Corey did some time now already. But nevertheless, earlier in the day, a pretrial motion hearing was unfolding for wife and mother of the adopted boy. So they're getting ready to sentence her. She would be tried separately from her husband. The family lived in Arizona before moving to Florida and has other adopted children and some biological children. I told you guys. Yep. I don't know. It's just rolling around. The adopted mother's name is Tracy, and her trial starts January. Okay, thank you, Miss Tina. So, yeah, they did this on Thursday, which was yesterday. This is crazy. I mean, and he looks like he was confused. He looked like he's confused. Hold on, let me make sure this don't. Maybe it's gonna be a commercial. Okay. We got it down so you guys can't hear it, but it's getting ready to come up in a minute. 2, 3, 2, 1. Good. Hold on.
The judge just making that decision late this afternoon. CBS 12 investigative reporter Mike Magnoli is joining us live outside the Palm Beach County Courthouse tonight with more on how that decision was reached. Mike?
Jim, you think about the nature of the crimes here, false imprisonment and aggravated child abuse, and he could have been sentenced to 40 years. So the judge definitely showing defendant Tim Ferriter some leniency here. We heard emotional statements from Tim Ferriter himself, from his mother asking the court to go easy on him, and certainly one of the most compelling moments during this sentencing hearing is when the victim, the adopted son, talked to the judge and asked for him to show his father mercy. Listen.
Oh, we're going to get to hear it.
A lot of people do not like what you did to me. But why come back? Well, it's because behind this monster of madness, guilt, anger, and wrongdoing, I see a soft spot. I see what you truly are. I know that hiding in the darkness of fear and blame, there is true fatherly love. That's because I still love you. And I'll always love you. Until the end of my days. My father was a good person who just made a really serious mistake.
Oh, wow. That was an impact statement.
Turning the page here, you got to remember that the husband and wife in this case asked to be tried separately. So the trial is still pending for Tracy Ferriter. That's the mother of the adopted boy. She was in some pre-trial motion hearings this morning asking the judge not to admit evidence from the time that the family was living in Arizona. The judge granted the defense's request in part, denied it in part, so some of this still playing out, and that trial for her, we anticipate that in the months ahead. We're live at the Palm Beach County Courthouse. I'm Mike Magnoli, CBS 12 News.
Wow. Hold on. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, so we now know he ended up getting 5 years in prison for abusing teenager son, who he locked in a box for hours. And it was kind of weird because when I started looking up, thank you for the flowers, Soldier Girl. When I was looking up um, the boy in the box. There was another boy. There was another case a long time ago about a boy in a box, which is totally different. That impact statement probably touched the judge. His mother spoke. I didn't know if his wife spoke. I would like to get the full coverage of that. But this boy said he still loved this man till the day he died. You know? And they always say that when you have a victim don't know why they you don't know why they could still love the person that victimized them. You know? Thank you, woke the God. Yes, can everyone please remember to hit that like button? But mm, mm, mm. um oh, there it is right there. That's crazy. It says that they 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
To downward depart under the catch-all. So the question then is whether I should exercise my discretion in doing it. Because I do find that this is a somewhat unique and complex situation because of the situation that maybe the
This is the judge
victim
talking.
has RAD. It's not totally clear that he does. It's not totally clear that what he has wasn't caused specifically by how he was treated by his parents. But I do recognize that there's enough that it creates an issue where this is not your normal situation of child abuse where their children are put in a cage or a box, and there's no nothing that explains what was going on here. Ultimately,
What is it not
state is
understanding?
requesting
Put him in a
15
box.
and I think the defense is requesting 1 year based on the motion, followed by probation. And I do note that I can go all the way up to 40 years. So at the end of the day, as I said before, I am totally convinced that what I do will not please anyone here.
Hold on, you guys. This. We got 4 minutes to listen to this judge. The state was only asking for 10. His attorney was asking for 1. If he was found guilty. The judge just said, I can sentence him to up to 40. See what I'm saying? This is where sometimes that, privileges work. This is how privileges work.
But ultimately, the buck stops with me, and the responsibility ends with me and falls on my shoulders to issue a sentence that I think is appropriate to the circumstances. And I will say that it is not lost on the court that not only is the defendant here going to be the one to suffer the weight of the sentence that I impose, but the entire family has already suffered the trauma and the ramifications and consequences of the defendant's conduct. And on that issue, I do think that the defendant exercised and expressed his remorse at that. I just wish he'd have been a little more forceful in getting the point to me that he actually acknowledges that what he did was wrong, and I didn't get that. I still didn't get that because I have some sneaking feeling that if all things being equal, the defendant might say that he would do the same thing over again because he thought it was the right thing to do out of love at the time he did it, and that creates problems for me. I hope that I'm wrong on that, but at least that doubt has been allowed to remain in my head. So All right, so enough said on this. I am going to exercise my discretion to downward depart here. I'm going to, but I will tell you that the downward departure is not even remotely close to what the victim has requested, nor the defense counsel requested. And at the end of the day, the sentence that I'm going to impose is going to be longer than what the guidelines provide. I'm going to downward depart from 75 months to 60 months, and followed by 5 years of probation, 2 years of the first 2 years of probation of which will be in CC2. During the term of probation, the defendant is not to have any contact initiated with any of the 3 older children. Those children will be free once they reach age of majority to have contact with the defendant if they so choose. In any event, even if the children so choose to have contact with the defendant, they will not be able to do so until the defendant has first completed the following conditions of probation. I'm going to require that the defendant undergo a 40-hour anger management class, which can be taken while he is in custody, that he undergo a 40-hour parenting course, and that he also undergo a mental health evaluation. With respect to the youngest child, given the nature of the appointment or the adoption there, I'm going to require any contact or visitation be supervised, but ultimately subject to any restrictions that the dependency court imposes, because obviously the dependency court, if they're still involved, then maybe they're not involved anymore. They don't have any jurisdiction anymore. So I'm going to leave it that there be no contact unless it's supervised with respect to the younger child. And the reason the court is allowing that is the circumstances that presently exist. The youngest child has been adopted by the wife's mother, and it's just not realistic in the court's view that where the adoption was permitted of the wife's mother, that any rational people looking at this situation would conclude that the parents are not going to have any contact with that child, or they should not have allowed the adoption to be by the wife's mother to begin with. So,
Wow. You see how sneaky these people are? She took the kids out of her name and gave them to her mama. Because they're both going to have to do some time.
Because I don't want to inadvertently disclose something that's privileged.
I don't know why they are giving this much out, but every American to see this. Basically giving me 1,000.
Wow, I didn't need to hear all of that. Wow. Anyway, you guys, some of the people are saying this is pathetic sentence. The judge was sort of right when he said, as I said before, I'm totally convinced that what I do will not please anyone here. Pitiful, a stinking 5 years for the years of abuse this child endured. Dang it, he should have received more, a lot more. People are disappointed. The truth of the defense argument was that the boy was put in a box to protect the other siblings from his violent behavior, yet both the daughter sided with their brother against the father, protecting the youngest sibling from harm is irrelevant since boy was put in the box before the youngest son was even born. And we know before the box he was locked in his bedroom. It's amazing how they shifted from protection to only about discipline during this sentence. It's like the judge has short memory and forgot about the fatality, or well, could have been the fatality of this case. Some people was like, I love this judge and I appreciate him. Tim and Tracy will never be able to hurt these children again, but we'll have the opportunity to become better people. To keep Tim locked up with murder, rapists, and then like with others is not where people get rehabilitated. It is where people learn how to be better criminals. The boy in the situation is a true inspiration to all. They thought they were slick hiding the little boy. Yeah. He only got 5 years. That's less time than years he put his son in the box. Great job. Another slap on the wrist. Obvious he is a sick man to do. I told you guys, he never said, he trying to say, oh, I feel like he remorse. Remorse what? He remorse he got caught. You know. He says, I wear the robe. I make the rules. He's not a judge. He's an enabler. That poor young man. He got off easy. Florida has a 50% good behavior option, so he may only serve 2.5 years. Plus, didn't this awful judge say that he was going to give him a bond to be released while pending appeal? So he'll be home for Thanksgiving until the courts decide on the appeal, which could be a year or more. It's truly disgusting. This judge showed his prejudice when he mentioned his own Marine service. He needs to retire ASAP. He's shown he no longer be logical or impartial. That's obvious. And to allow that child to be adopted by his abuser's parents while they gaslight him and coach him on what to say to the courts is horrendous. This child has a trauma bond which is being further deepened by this arrangement. That's it. I hope the judge is removed from the bench. Not fair. You didn't bleep the minor's name. Judge was too lenient. That sentence doesn't even come close to meeting the crime. So will he only do 2.5? I know he wishes he would have taken the 2 years now on the wife. I hope the prison inmates will give him a nice welcome. Are you kidding? That's it. What the heck? I can't even stand this judge. Shocked. This adoption and abuse story is getting more complex. Is the judge justifying what the father did to his son? Not enough time. This is a dang good and fair judge. Lots of strict rules towards mental therapy, help especially. See, I'm telling you, there's always going to be some people that's going to be in agreement with, oh, it wasn't his kid, and they were just trying to protect the other kids. But you just heard the other kid wasn't even there. Some people is like this. Tim won't even last 5 years. He already looked terrified. He's shaking and everything and looking at his wife, and his eyes is all bucked like, what the heck am I doing here? I was being a American. I was being American. You know. I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm going to get off here. We're already out in our hour. But this reminds me of the trial when that boy, they went to the house and got that boy for what was for looking at that woman or whistling at that woman. And his niece was actually in our chat room for a while. I got their number, reach out to her. What was the one that they went and drug with the truck? What was that boy's name? Somebody in the chat put that boy's name in the chat. They drug him in the truck. Drug him. Went to his house and grabbed him up in Emmett Till. Yes, there you go, Lisa Calhoun. Come on with it. I love that name, Calhoun. Yes. But yeah. Emmett Till. This is just like the Emmett Till story. If y'all ever look at that court case, they thought, the courts, the reporters, if you looked at how they did Emmett Till And like I said, we know Emmett Till's niece. He was actually leaving her house because she was getting married. And he was making fun with the women, trying to, look at all the women and smiling at all the women and everything. And I got her number. And she comes in all the time. I got her number. But her uncle, they took and killed him. And people lied and everything else. They didn't even want to show his body. You know what I'm saying? So if you think things done changed from back in the day, really, you're not paying attention. Things have not changed. I don't care what color they are. They wrong. They wrong. I really don't. People be like, yeah, you do, SP. No, I don't. You better understand something. Like I just said, when you lose your kids and your kids get off in that system, you think they in a better place? Huh? You don't know what place they in. They got sick people like this just wanting that money. Even if your kid is, messed up in the head or whatever, it still don't matter. You get them some help. You don't go stick them in a box. You can't get them some help. You give them to somebody that can help them. Because sticking them in a box is not the answer. Sticking them in a box is not the answer. She said, that is very cool to know Emmett Till's niece. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she comes in here all the time. I thought I'd let you guys talk to her. We was going to do a interview with her and Emmett Till's sister, her mother. And but she comes in here. She talks all the time. She comes in here. You guys know her too. Anyway, I know what you meant. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to get off of here and get back on. I'm not going to work on my essay anymore today. I think I understand what I was doing wrong, and I'm trying to correct my wrongs and make them right. But anyway, it's going to take me a while. And, make sure you guys pray. Yeah, you forgot her name? Yeah. Yeah. But it's all good. I'm not starstruck on people and celebrities and people who famous for something. But when they tell me something, I try to, but we know her. She calls in all the time, so she used to. Yeah. James Byrd Jr. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to get off of here and chill before I have to go to work tonight. Got a lot on my mind. I will see you guys Monday. Make sure you come in here because we will not be on live Wednesday. I can tell you that right now. It's not going to happen. So let's get all we can get in Monday. Hopefully nothing happens throughout the week. If I get tired of doing some homework, I'll put some stuff together for you guys. And I'll see you guys Monday. What day would that be? The 20th? Okay, Monday would be the 20th. All right, you guys, be good, be safe, and be nice to each other. Bye.